Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
Within a galaxy far, far away, the Imperial remnant wouldn't seem to be a significant threat after the destruction of the second Death Star in the Return of the Jedi. However, in shows now like The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Resistance, and the overall sequel trilogy, they've shown of how the New Republic's wrangling of Imperial systems back into a Republic-style bureaucracy after decades of corrupt totalitarian rule has left gaping weaknesses in their resources and intelligence. From the heavy reliance on bounty hunters as lawkeepers in the Outer Rim, to the extensive politicking and squabbing among their politicians to follow up on terrifying intelligence finds. Sounds familiar. The New Republic might as well leave Coruscant's Senate doors unlocked. If that wasn't bad enough, there's more, and it's worse. Since the New Republic lets Imperials work within their bureaucracy system as well, it's as if they're putting enemies in their own territory. Although, democratic bureaucracy secures a more communal say in carrying out important lawmaking and fair justice, in politic terms, for the New Republic, in the context of recovering a galaxy from an industrious and efficient trinary, it means creating red tape and programs that create righteous social posturings to access and brutal fault. Aside from the Ahsoka show's display of the New Republic's current status and military resources especially being spread too thin, Season 3 of The Mandalorian also showed the complexity ignored with the Republic Amnesty program. Despite the program's limits on the officers of who are actually in it and a part of it, the potential holes in intelligence had inherently created blinders for the New Republic, whilst the Imperial remnant easily plotted and prepared for the arrival of Thrawn, heir to the Empire. How did these heroic rebels turn into squabbing politicians that seemed to be blinded? How did it get so bad that Leia had created the Resistance faction to the threats separate from the New Republic herself, as we've seen now begin to unfold in the Mandoverse in shows like the Ahsoka show or The Mandalorian Season 3, but also in the Resistance animated show, and even a bit throughout the sequel trilogy as well. That's how the Resistance came to be, is because Leia split from the New Republic. Well, as I had mentioned, for one, their military resources, specifically the Navy fleet of the New Republic, is simply spread too thin, off on too many different missions and too many different areas in the galaxy. For one, the New Republic was established in 4 ABY, after Battle of Yavin. It existed until its destruction in 34 ABY. It did, though, however, stay around for quite some time. However, with so many systems to liberate from formerly occupied Imperial forces, and the need to rebuild after decades of war within the Galactic Empire, the New Republic's fleet was too focused on its routines, needed to transition power to look outward towards pending threats that plot far away from the reach of the Republic's authorities, as in other words, they were too busy rebuilding what was left after the Galactic Civil War between the Rebellion and the Galactic Empire, and weren't actually focused on any other threats coming around because they thought that they had defeated any threats that was going to be around. And so, as seen in The Mandalorian Season 2, also in the Book of Boba Fett, it's clear that the Imperial remnant was alive and well in this period and was easily able to run under the radar. Just the utter lawlessness of the galaxy became so desperate that only bounty hunters seemed to actually take any rule, such as Din Djarin and Boba Fett, chasing rare bounties dared to cross into their territory, as in other words, having actual bounty hunters take on those politic kind of roles, especially within the Outer Rim. The era of the whole Mandalorian series, the Mandoverse, really seems to have emphasized a galaxy fragmented by the victory of the Rebels in the Return of the Jedi era, as into kind of ego, really. They don't think anything else is going to come around to knock them down. The complete structure implied shows of how centralized around Coruscant most of the New Republic's power is, leaving plenty of room for the Imperial remnant to create their network of warlord moffs that can easily thrive, and we're already beginning to see that in the Ahsoka show, with Thrawn now arriving back in the new galaxy, or the main Star Wars galaxy much rather, on Dathomir, headed straight there and ready to set up camp. It's this exact type of crippling inaction between the politicians in Coruscant and the rising Imperial remnant, of which has caused Leia Organa to become a general in yet another rebel force, the Resistance, as seen throughout the sequel trilogy. Leia's revival of the rebellious militants took decades to reform though, however, and while that happened, the Imperial remnant became the First Order. It's baffling that someone with as much of a gumption and influence as General Leia Organa, though, however, had to leave the New Republic. She fought and bled for it to actually stand and become something that considered. It's no wonder highly respected generals like Hera Syndulla and other Rebel Alliance spearheaders like Ahsoka Tano had such a hard time receiving support when they discovered the plot of Thrawn's return in the Ahsoka show specifically. Ironically enough, though, however, it was Leia's influence on Hera Syndulla's tribute that had allowed Hera to maintain her position and allow her freedom to prepare for Thrawn's return. This interaction specifically in the Ahsoka show with C-3PO as a representative from Leia played quite well as one of the many incidents. Like Hera's charismatic for being vigilant as one of many reasons as to Leia actually eventually left the Republic's Defense Council. Leia could see that she would have to take matters into her own hands long before the time of The Force Awakens and the sequels and the rise of the First Order. And so, red tape and paperwork is the Empire's best friend, it seems, as into specifics. Well, at least that we've seen so far, specifically within the mandoverse. For one, the Imperial remnant was led by the Shadow Council after the fall of the Empire, and reformed Imperials seem to have worked within the New Republic to bring it down. The bureaucratic process of the New Republic were mirrored with redundancy and paperwork as means to thwart the corruption inherent in Coruscant's former Imperial structure. However, delaying, erasing, and halting industrious research and development completely slowed down any way to make proactive decisions against the Floran threats like piracy and Imperial remnant bases as seen in The Mandalorian. There's just too much paperwork in between going out and actually cluing into these missions. And we see that greatly identified in The Mandalorian Season 3 with Carson Teva. The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3, The Covert, introduced the Republic Amnesty Program into the tragedy of Dr. Pershing. It felt like a bit of a waste of 45 minutes, although I think that there's more interest into it. That said, though, however, it uncovered the fatigue and oversight of civil servant workers who clean through and throw out the tones of important economic and scientific information started by the Galactic Empire, erasing it simply, wasting time even. Dr. Pershing's cubic work and the realization that the New Republic had very little interest actually in the positive and proactive at that pioneering research disheartened his confidence to be able to function in a society and to thrive in it as well, in the new political climate throughout. This doubt alone seems to have led the determination to continue his research in secret, leading to his demise at the hands of one of his own. Really a prime example of exactly why the New Republic seems to fall and why the First Order thrives and comes back. I do believe there to be plenty of other different areas and examples, I think, at that, as of to the politics and everything that we're seeing unfold throughout the Mandoverse, kind of in real time. There's going to be more to it, and I can't wait to see it. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been an official Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. May the Force be with you. Peace out.